The economy of Bangladesh is characterized as a developing market economy. In the decade since 2004, Bangladesh averaged a GDP growth of 4.5% that has been largely driven by its exports of ready-made garments, remittances in the domestic agricultural sector. The country has pursued export-oriented industrialization, with its key export sectors include textiles, shipbuilding, fish and seafood, jute and leather goods. It has also developed self-sufficient industries in pharmaceuticals, steel and food processing. The economy of Vietnam is a socialist-oriented market economy. Vietnam is in a period of being integrated into the global economy. Almost all Vietnamese enterprises are small and medium enterprises. Vietnam has become a leading agricultural exporter and served as an attractive destination for foreign investment in Southeast Asia. In the current period, Vietnam's economy relies largely on foreign direct investment to attract the capital from overseas to support its continual economic rigor. The economy of Malaysia is the fourth largest in Southeast Asia according to the International Monetary Fund 2020. Since gaining independence in 1957, Malaysia has successfully diversified its economy from one that was initially agriculture and commodity-based, to one that now plays host to robust manufacturing and service sectors, which have propelled the country to become one of the leading exporter of high-tech products, electrical appliances, electronic parts and components. The economy of Egypt used to be a highly centralized economy focused on import substitution. At present, following Egypt's 2030 vision, which is aimed at diversifying Egypt's economy, the country's economy became the second largest in Africa after Nigeria in terms of nominal GDP. The economy of Israel is a developed free market economy. The country's major economic sectors are high technology and industrial manufacturing. Israel's quality university education and the establishment of a highly motivated and educated populace is largely responsible for ushering in the country's high technology boom and rapid economic development by regional standards. The Philippines is one of the emerging markets and is primarily considered a newly industrialized country, which has an economy in transition from one based on agriculture to one based more on services and manufacturing. Much of the industrial sector is based on processing and assembly operations in the manufacturing of electronics and other high-tech components, usually from foreign multinational corporations. The Philippines has been named as one of the Tiger Cub economies together with Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. The economy of Austria is a developed social market economy, with the country being one of the 14 richest in the world in terms of GDP per capita. Most important for Austria is the service sector, generating the vast majority of Austria's GDP. Vienna has grown into a finance and consulting metropole and has established itself as the door to the East within the last decades. Viennese law firms and banks are among the leading corporations in business with the new EU member states. Tourism is very important for Austria's economy, accounting for around 10% of Austria's GDP. The economy of the Republic of Ireland is a highly developed knowledge economy, focused on services in high-tech, life sciences, financial services and agribusiness, including agri-food. Trade and export are the main components of the economy of Ireland. Ireland is among the largest exporter of software-related goods, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. Thailand itself is a newly industrialized country. The industrial and service sectors are the main sectors in the Thai gross domestic product. The economy of Thailand is dependent on exports, which accounted in 2019 for about 60% of the country's gross domestic product. The industrial and service sectors are the main sectors in the Thai gross domestic product, with the former accounting for 39.2% of GDP. The economy of Belgium is a modern, capitalist economy that has capitalized on the country's central geographic location, highly developed transport network, and diversified industrial and commercial base. Most traditional industrial sectors are represented in the economy, including steel, textiles, refining, chemicals, food processing, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, electronics, and machinery fabrication. The economy of Sweden is a developed export-oriented economy aided by timber, hydropower, and iron ore. These constitute the resource base of an economy oriented toward foreign trade. The main industries include motor vehicles, telecommunications, pharmaceuticals, industrial machines, precision equipment, chemical goods, home goods and appliances, forestry, iron, and steel. The economy of Iran is a mixed and transition economy with a large public sector. Most of the country's exports are oil and gas, accounting for a majority of government revenue in 2010. GDP contracted in 2018 and 2019 and modest rebound is expected in 2020. The economy of Nigeria is a middle-income, mixed economy and emerging market, with expanding manufacturing, financial, service, communications, technology and entertainment sectors. Its re-emergent manufacturing sector became the largest on the continent in 2013, and it produces a large proportion of goods and services for the West African subcontinent. The economy of Poland is an industrialized, mixed economy with a developed market. Poland has a highly diverse economy that ranks 21st in the 2017 Economic Complexity Index. The largest component of its economy is the service sector, 62.3%, followed by industry, 34.2%, and agriculture, 3.5%. Poland shipped $224.6 billion worth of goods around the globe in 2017, while exports increased to $221.4 billion. The country's top export goods include machinery, electronic equipment, vehicles, furniture, and plastics. The economy of Saudi Arabia is one of the top 20 economies in the world, and the largest economy in the Arab world and the Middle East. The petroleum sector accounts for roughly 87% of Saudi budget revenues, 90% of export earnings, and 42% of GDP. Saudi Arabia's oil reserves and production are largely managed by the state-owned corporation Saudi Aramco. Another 40% of GDP comes from the private sector. Taiwan has a dynamic capitalist economy that is driven largely by industrial manufacturing, and especially exports of electronics, machinery, and petrochemicals. This heavy dependence on exports exposes the economy to fluctuations in global demand. The economy of Switzerland is one of the world's most advanced free market economies. The service sector has come to play a significant economic role, particularly the Swiss banking industry and tourism. Switzerland is the leading exporter of high-end watches and clocks. Switzerland has an extensive industrial sector, with globally competitive companies in various industrial sectors. Switzerland also has one of the most competitive pharmaceutical industries in the world. The economy of Turkey is an emerging market economy as defined by the International Monetary Fund. Turkey is defined by economists and political scientists as one of the world's newly industrialized countries. The country is among the world's leading producers of agricultural products, textiles, motor vehicles, transportation equipment, construction materials, consumer electronics and home appliances. The Netherlands has a prosperous and open economy, which depends heavily on foreign trade. The economy is noted for stable industrial relations, fairly low unemployment and inflation, a sizable current account surplus and an important role as a European transportation hub, with Rotterdam as by far the biggest port in Europe and Amsterdam with one of the biggest airports in Europe. Industrial activity is predominantly in food processing, chemicals, petroleum refining, high-tech, financial services, creative sector and electrical machinery. The economy of Mexico is a developing market economy. The economy contains rapidly developing modern industrial and service sectors, with increasing private ownership. Recent administrations have expanded competition in ports, railroads, telecommunications, electricity generation, natural gas distribution and airports, with the aim of upgrading infrastructure. As an export-oriented economy, more than 90% of Mexican trade is under free trade agreements with more than 40 countries. Indonesia is classified as a newly industrialized country. Indonesia depends on domestic market and government budget spending and its ownership of state-owned enterprises. The central government owns 141 enterprises. Major industrial sectors include petroleum and natural gas, textiles and apparel, mining, footwear, plywood, rubber and chemical fertilizers. The services sector is equally as important to Indonesia's economy, accounting for 43% of GDP in 2015. The economy of Spain has a mixed capitalist economy in which there is a variety of private freedom, combined with centralized economic planning and government regulation. The tourism industry is an important economic driver in the country, accounting for about 11% of the nation's annual GDP. Pharmaceuticals and automobiles are the primary export commodities from Spain's manufacturing industry. Another critical industry in Spain is the country's energy industry. The economy of Australia is a highly developed mixed economy. The Australian economy is dominated by its service sector, comprising 62.7% of the GDP and employing 78.8% of the labor force in 2017. Australia has the 10th highest total estimated value of natural resources, valued at $19.9 trillion in 2019. At the height of the mining boom in 2009 and 2010, the total value added of the mining industry was 8.4% of GDP. The economy of Russia is an upper-middle-income mixed economy, with enormous natural resources, particularly oil and natural gas. Russia is considered an energy superpower. It has the world's largest proven natural gas reserves and is the largest exporter of natural gas. It is also the second largest exporter of petroleum. Russia has a large and sophisticated arms industry, capable of designing and manufacturing high-tech military equipment, including a fifth-generation fighter jet, nuclear-powered submarines, firearms, and short-range and long-range ballistic missiles. Brazil has a developing mixed economy. The service sector is the largest component of the gross domestic product at 67.0%, followed by the industrial sector at 27.5%. Agriculture represents 5.5% of GDP in 2011. From a colony focused on primary sector goods like sugar, gold and cotton, Brazil has managed to create a diversified industrial base in the 20th century. The steel industry is a prime example of that, with Brazil being the 9th largest steel producer in 2018, and the 5th largest steel net exporter in 2018. The economy of South Korea is a highly developed mixed economy dominated by family-owned conglomerates called cables. South Korea relies largely upon exports to fuel the growth of its economy, with finished products such as electronics, textiles, ships, automobiles, and steel being some of its most important exports. The economy of Canada is a highly developed mixed economy. As with other developed nations, the country's economy is dominated by the service industry, which employs about 3/4 of Canadians. It has the world's 3rd largest proven petroleum reserves and is the 4th largest exporter of petroleum. It is also the 4th largest exporter of natural gas. Canada is considered an energy superpower due to its abundant natural resources and a small population of 37 million inhabitants relative to its land area. The economy of Italy is a highly developed mixed economy. Italy is a large manufacturer and exporter of a significant variety of products including machinery, vehicles, pharmaceuticals, furniture, food, clothing, and robots. Italy has therefore a significant trade surplus. The country is also well known for its influential and innovative business economic sector, an industrious and competitive agricultural sector, and manufacturers of creatively designed, high-quality products including automobiles, ships, home appliances, and designer clothing. Italy is the largest hub for luxury goods in Europe and the 3rd luxury hub globally. The economy of France is highly developed and free market-oriented. France has a diversified economy that is dominated by the service sector, which represented in 2017 78.8% of its GDP, whilst the industrial sector accounted for 19.5% of its GDP and the primary sector accounted for the remaining 1.7%. The economy of the United Kingdom is a highly developed social market and market-orientated economy. The service sector dominates, contributing 79% of GDP. The financial services industry is particularly important, and London is the second largest financial centre in the world. Britain's aerospace industry is the second largest national aerospace industry. Its pharmaceutical industry, the 10th largest in the world, plays an important role in the economy. The economy of India is characterized as a middle-income developing market economy. The service sector makes up 50% of GDP and remains the fastest-growing sector, while the industrial sector and the agricultural sector employs a majority of the labor force. India is the world's largest manufacturer of generic drugs, and its pharmaceutical sector fulfills over 50% of the global demand for vaccines. The Indian IT industry is a major exporter of IT services with $191 billion in revenue and employs over 4 million people. The economy of Germany is a highly developed social market economy. In 2016, Germany recorded the highest trade surplus in the world worth $310 billion, making it the biggest capital exporter globally. The top 10 exports of Germany are vehicles, machinery, chemical goods, electronic products, electrical equipment, pharmaceuticals, transport equipment, basic metals, food products, and rubber and plastics. The economy of Japan is a highly developed free market economy. Japan is the world's third largest automobile manufacturing country, has the largest electronics goods industry, and is often ranked among the world's most innovative countries, leading several measures of global patent filings. Facing increasing competition from China and South Korea, manufacturing in Japan today now focuses primarily on high-tech and precision goods, such as optical instruments, hybrid vehicles, and robotics. The economy of the People's Republic of China is a developing market-oriented economy that incorporates economic planning through industrial policies and strategic 5-year plans. China is also the world's largest exporter and the second largest importer, and it contains the fastest-growing consumer market. Major industries include manufacturing, agriculture and telecommunication services. The economy of the United States is a highly developed mixed economy. The United States has the most technologically powerful economy in the world, and its firms are at or near the forefront in technological advances, especially in artificial intelligence, computers, pharmaceuticals, and medical, aerospace, and military equipment. Here's the full list. From number 36 to number 191.